Today, I'm gonna show you the best deck for every single arena in Clash Royale. Most of the decks in this video can be used in any arena. I'm just gonna show you basically the fastest meta decks that you can unlock as we go through the arenas. So the Arena 18 deck will still be good for Arena 25, so you can pick and choose whichever one you want to play. If you came here for a deck from Arena 1 to 4, I'm sorry, I'm skipping you. Just use the starter cards. Now, in Arena 5 Builder's Workshop, you can start off by making a pretty normal looking Hog Rider deck with almost every card in it correct to 2.6, except for the Ice Golem and the Log. Obviously, the Zap and the Knight are there instead. As you go through the arenas, you can either choose to go to 2.6 with the Ice Golem, like I just mentioned, or you can choose to go to Hog Earthquake, where you'd be playing a slightly different deck that I will bring up later in the video because that is going to come in once you get the Mighty Miner. But for now, this is a really good deck that will take you pretty much the whole damn arena place. But for now, this will do you wonders for a while. For Arena 6 Pekka's Playhouse, I actually recommend the exact same deck because while you unlock the Goblin Barrel, there's nothing else in this arena you unlock that's worth playing and substituting to switch decks from Hog. You get Goblin Barrel, and I would not recommend unless there's a gun to your head to pick up Log Bait. For Arena 7, the Royal Arena, you can make your first beatdown deck with Giant Double Prince, barring you probably don't have the Miner unlocked unless somehow you glitch the system. The Miner would be in place of maybe the Zap or the arrows. You can play Rage instead of one of the spells here. You can make a pretty successful Giant Double Prince deck that for the majority of the next coming arenas, people will have no idea how to defend. For Arena 8 Frozen Peak, you can unlock the Ice Spirit and the Ice Golem for your original Hog deck that I showed you, or you can take the more respectful manner and start to play Recruits. Now, this Recruits deck is not quite the perfect Recruits deck yet. You'll need to unlock Zappies later down the road, Golden Knight, and you can sub in obviously Zappies for Skelly Drags, Fireball and Arrows, or Fireball or Arrows. Once you unlock the Golden Knight, that's also going to be the play. This is a really menacing deck with the Royal Hogs, the Recruits, that people just like Giant Double Prince will not know how to defend and are very easy to play compared to Hog. So while Hog will be having more good matchups, Recruits is definitely easier to play, like on the toilet or watching Suits. For Arena 9, the Jungle Arena, I am going to once again recommend the Hog Rider, this time with the Ice Golem and Ice Spirit added from the original deck we had. Now, once again, Jungle Arena is going to give you a bunch of bait cards and cards like Rune Giant, Barb Hut, sorry for the Barb Hut lovers, and Berserker that are all just really bad and not worth pursuing, and a bunch of bait cards that, once again, unless there's a gun to your head, don't play bait. There's just not really a win condition worth mentioning, so I would recommend to stick to one of the decks I've already showed you so far in the video, or this Hog Rider deck, because you can pivot to a much better deck in, well, actually with Heroes, it might not be a much better deck, but the Mighty Miner Hog EQ deck that I'll keep mentioning because it is one of the best decks to level up in the entire game. For Arena 10 Hog Mountain, you're going to be able to finally unlock and play Expo 3.0. Now, the Zap is obviously subbed in for the Log. Once you get the Log, or in some circumstances the Barb Barrel, you'll be able to sub it in for the Zap, but for now the Zap is just a fine placeholder for the Log. Expo 3.0 is a deck that, although it has really bad metas, is something that when you pick up early on and you get a lot of practice in, you're going to be able to outplay almost every matchup in the entire game. But be a little bit wary. It can be tough to beat mid-ladder menaces if you don't know what you're doing, so that's just a word of caution. Also, side note, you unlock the Zappies for that Recruits deck I was talking about. For Electro Valley Arena 11, you unlock a whole spiel of legendaries. Now, you're not going to get all of these probably, but you get the ability to start unlocking these. So if you get the Miner, obviously you can start to do a lot of cool things that I'm going to mention upcoming. You're going to unlock the E-Wiz. You can put it in Giant decks, Pekka decks. We're going to basically, based on what you get here, follow the next like 8 to 10 arenas based on what you have. So if you don't get the Miner or you don't get the Sparky, then obviously don't follow the Sparky deck I give you or the Miner deck I give you. Play something else. And the Mega Knight, oh my god, the Mega Knight's not as good without his Evo, but if you get his Evo, oh my goodness, you're gonna terrorize people all the way up to like 10,000 trophies. Most importantly though is probably the Log, since while the Barb Barrel was currently better before it got its nerf, the Log is the most versatile. You'll see it in the most decks, but based off what legendary you get, that's how you basically pick the next 6 to 8 decks I'll give you. I promise this is the last time I'm going to bring up Hog for a minute, but for Spooky Town Arena 12, this is where you can make your first Hog EQ deck because you unlock the Hog, or no, sorry, the EQ and the Firecracker. So you can start to make this. Eventually, you want to sub out the Valkyrie for the Mighty Miner, or you can try the Hero Mini Pekka if by somehow you get that. Pretty much no other changes are needed in this deck. I guess you could play Tesla, and I guess if you want to show off your new log, you can play log instead of bar barrel. For Rascal's Hideout Arena 13, you can make a fully effective Lava Hound deck, considering you have to unlock the Lava Hound at Arena 13, because that's where you get the ability to unlock it at. And obviously, maybe if you don't have the Lava Hound unlocked, you wait a little bit and play one of the earlier decks, but you can make this full deck from cards that you've had pretty much unlocked just sitting there. You can play Barbs instead of Valkyrie if you're having trouble defending things on the ground as well. For Arena 14 Serenity Peak, you can put together nearly an entire full Lumberloon deck. Now, play anything in the last spot here because you want to fill it with the NATO that you unlock from the next arena. But for now, if you somehow miraculously have the ability to put together the two Inferno Dragon and Lumberjack legendary cards, which are kind of hard to get early on in the arenas, go be my guest and terrorize the arenas with Lumberloon. If not, then that's okay. Play one of the other decks, but you can unlock almost the full deck, and you should start working towards it if you want to get pretty easy victories and just like kind of surprise your opponents, catch them off guard, get fast victories. Again, play anything until you unlock the Tornado, which is coming up in the next arena. For Arena 15, the Miner's Mine, you can put together an entire normal Royal Giant deck, which once again has the same, I guess, issue as our Lumberloon deck, with two legendaries in it. Now, if you do want to play this and you unlock the Fisherman, you can sub out the Royal Ghost for potentially the Dark Prince, which I wouldn't entirely recommend, but if you still like the idea of playing RG, it doesn't get a lot worse with the Royal Ghost. The Royal Ghost, or with the Dark Prince instead of the Royal Ghost. Royal Ghost just makes it a little bit easier to get that pressure, to get that, it's just more clean and more synergetic with Royal Giant. But if not, that's perfectly fine. You do want to make sure you have the Hunter. Fisherman is the utmost importance. If you get Fisherman, I highly recommend going after Royal Giant because it's not that hard to level up outside of the two legendaries. For Arena 16, the Executioner's Kitchen, you unlock the Golden Knight, in which case you can put together an E-Giant deck that the Golden Knight is going to be able to really strive in, given it has the NATO, it has synergy with being able to chain together off of things, be able to apply pressure with the E-Giant. You can even speed up the E-Giant in certain situations, and also you can kind of take advantage of the stuff that gets stunned, like grouped together near the E-Giant. So very good combo, and again, these cards are going to do so well together. With Arena 17, the Royal Crypt, I'm going to give you two different decks. And again, because you unlock the Boss Bandit, the Queen, and the Mighty Miner. The Mighty Miner and the Boss Bandit are the ones I recommend building a deck around if you get them. If not, using any one of the decks I showed you already in this video is a great idea, because once again, every single one of the decks I showed in this video is viable in every arena. I just showed you the ones you could get fastest. Now, this deck is really, really strong, but the Hero Mini Pack is not necessary. The Mini Pack is just in the deck. You don't need to run him if you don't have the... You can run him without the hero is basically what I mean. Boss Bandit is just an absolutely insane card that is so hard to deal with at top ladder, much less how hard it's going to be to deal with at mid ladder and the arenas here. And the Executioner Evo XE is one of the best Evos to build your deck around. You don't need the Evos necessarily either. Just this deck is something you can definitely work towards and will have so much success, especially in the trophy road. And I did promise you guys that I would finally go back to mentioning Hog Rider at least one more time, and now that we have the Mighty Miner unlocked, it is really effective to use this fully complete Hog EQ deck, which really doesn't see how good it is until you unlock the Mighty Miner. Evo Tesla, I think, is currently better than the Evo Cannon right now, since Cannon did just get a nerf, specifically in this deck. I don't know how it fares in the rest of the meta yet. Haven't played enough of Clash to see this meta, but I will, and this is an insanely good deck as well. So pick your poison if you haven't chose a deck yet and you want to pick either this one or the XE deck. Both of them really strong. For Silent Sanctuary Arena 18, I do recommend this Queen Hoggies deck from the last arenas unlock, because with this arena you unlock the Gobstein, the Little Prince, and the Monk. And while Monk can be good in selective niche Royal Giant decks, the top 2 Royal Giant decks right now don't have the Monk in them, and he does make it a little more clunky. You can go and place the Monk instead of potentially the Skeletons or the Royal Ghost in that deck I showed you earlier. You can go back and see the Royal Giant deck if you need to. But for this one, if you do unlock the Queen, a really good option is the Flying Piggies with the Queen. Again, you don't necessarily need the Evos. This is just the Evos you would get if you decide to pursue this deck and you got any Evos for it. Now for arenas 18 through 28, you can use any of the decks that I've given you so far in this video. There are so many different options to play based on your playstyle. If you like heavy decks, go for the Lava, go for the Giant. If you like faster paced decks, the Hog EQ, Hoggies, Expo, all great decks to level up and play. And each one of these decks is viable all throughout the trophy road once you get the correct cards to sub in, for example, the earlier decks in the game. I've given about like 10 to 12, I think, very viable decks, and I could play any single one of them and push up the trophy road. So pick one that you really like based on the card unlocks you get and go from there. If you don't like the deck, then I would recommend going to play classic challenges or grand challenges, depending on if you're rich and have a bunch of gems. But classic challenges for only 10 gems will let you play any single card in the entire game to test out if you like the deck. Because if you don't like the deck, you don't want to have spent a bunch of resources upgrading it before you even play it and figure out you don't like it. So thank you everyone for watching the video. Make sure to drop a like if that helped, and let me know in the comments if you'd like me to rate your deck. I'll take a look at it and see how good that deck is or if it could be improved.